Hello there, my friend, and a warm welcome back to the show. I cannot believe we've reached 100 episodes already. Time has absolutely just flown by. I was just having a look at when I posted the first episode, and it was back in April 2024. And it's April 2026 now, so it's been 2 straight years of sharing the FI tips that I've learned and also speaking to some amazing guests during that time. It's funny because I started this podcast as a passion project during a 16-month sabbatical with the missus, and I actually just started it as a small experiment, really. I told myself I'll just do like 3 episodes first just to see if I liked it, if I liked the process. And then, I just kept going. I just kept doing the next one because I enjoyed it and I love meeting cool and interesting people. And now, I just do it for free because it's something I love to do. So anyway, the last episode was episode 100, and to celebrate, I had Jess on from the Pioneers, and her work in FI community has really inspired me. So I was really chuffed to have her on talking about life design, one of my favourite topics of course, and I must admit, I was fanboying a little bit, but hopefully I didn't show it too much, and hopefully she didn't notice either. So anyway, for today's episode, I wanted to share 5 of the biggest lessons I've learned after 100 episodes that would hopefully help you if you're also on your journey to FI. And chances are, if you're listening to this, you are on that journey. You don't have to wait until you reach financial independence to start enjoying your life. You can do that much earlier and start living a life that you love and that's true to you. Welcome to Freedom Before FI. Using FIRE and life design techniques, we help you create freedom on your way to FI instead of waiting until you're retired to do the things that light you up. I'm your host Greg, a FIRE movement and life design enthusiast. If you're itching to get freedom now, then let's do this. Okay, so let's get started with the first lesson. So the first one is, FI gives you a superpower. Okay, so basically what I mean here is, if you're on the FI path, it's likely you're being diligent with your money and have a bit of savings in the background. Now this acts as a bit of a safety net. Now, because you have this imaginary safety net, this gives you the confidence to take risk in your life. Calculated ones, of course. Risks that could change your life for the better. Now I'll give you some typical examples. So one risk to achieve a positive outcome might be quitting a toxic job to find a better one. Maybe it's leaving a toxic relationship. Another example would be deciding to travel the world because you hate your work and traveling has always been on your bucket list. Or another example is finally deciding to go self-employed. Those are just some examples, but having that financial backing makes that decision to change a little bit easier. Now, back in episode 70, Brenda, who's the founder of Firespark Retreats in Australia, described this confidence as having a superpower. FI gives you the confidence to take risks and make positive changes in your life. Now, I talk about this more on episode 75, titled The One Superpower That Saving and Frugality Gives You. So feel free to check that one out if you're interested. Okay, so let's go to lesson number 2, which is the power of stepping back to align with yourself. So in a nutshell, this is all about taking an extended break, for example, a sabbatical, a mini retirement, a career break, an adult gap year. It's extended time away from your day job to have the space to just get back to yourself and align with your values and what you love to do. When we're all working full time, and unless you absolutely love what you do, which you'd probably be in the minority here, it's really difficult to get the space to breathe, to contemplate on things, do things we used to love doing, or even trying new things or new hobbies. Having that extended break gives you that space. And what I've seen with some of my guests is that taking a break has helped them make these amazing transitions in life and help them do things that are way more aligned with what actually lights them up. So, for example, in episode 35, Lisa Hawashi talked about how she went on a long-term sabbatical. She ended up finding the love of her life, she started living on a farm in Spain, and she transitioned to being a life coach. In episode 74, Justin from the FI Minded podcast talked about taking a 7-month sabbatical after being in corporate for 7 years. Now that sabbatical helped him transition to entrepreneurship, and he started a podcast production company with his brother. Now in episode 76, Michelle Varghese left a career in tech sales to pursue a creative career. She became a writer, a podcaster, a community builder. Now she's a writing coach, all of which happened while on her long-term sabbatical. If you want to get a little bit of freedom to do the things that you love before reaching FI, taking sabbaticals is the best way to go about it. You can also use it to test drive retirement, just like how Nicole and Tyler talked about in episode 88. Okay, so let's go over to the third lesson, which is the power of geo-arbitrage. Okay, so geographic arbitrage in its truest form is moving from a high cost of living area to a low cost of living area, but still earning that high cost of living salary or business income in your new low cost of living location. But I also consider just moving to a low cost of living area to be included in that as well. And that could be a domestic relocation or an international one. Now, depending on where you relocate to, this can drastically reduce your living expenses, which means you'll have a lower FI milestone number to reach, and that also means you can get there quicker. And that's not just for traditional FI, it could mean some other earlier milestones like Coast FI, Barista FI, semi-retirement, etc. You can get to those quicker as well. In episode 24, Steve, the frugal expat, was able to save 60% of his income by moving from the US and living in Taiwan, therefore massively accelerating his path to FI. Okay, so back in episode 20, one of our earlier guests, Kenneth, the founder of the FIRE Movement Philippines group, moved from the capital city of Manila to a smaller city to reduce his expenses. He ended up spending only a quarter of his city apartment rent, and at the same time gaining more space house-wise and also gaining a garden. Domestic geo-arbitrage gave him a runway to experiment with entrepreneurship, and he ended up starting a chocolate making business, and it's still going strong today, and it's called Cacao Culture. In episode 59, Andy Overseas was able to retire early at the young age of 35 by moving to Panama, which also has some great tax benefits too. The other benefit too is you may find yourself living somewhere a little bit more desirable. For example, being close to nature, or maybe somewhere warmer and escaping cloudy grey weather, which is exactly what I done when I moved from London, UK to the Philippines back in 2018. And international geo-arbitrage has massively helped us on our FI journey. For example, us going on long-term sabbaticals, because we have comparatively lower living costs compared to, say, living in London, we were able to have longer sabbaticals. Okay, let's head over to the fourth lesson, which is knowing all the different FI strategies. Now, the FIRE movement has evolved immensely throughout the years. There's so many different variations and strategies now. By knowing them or keeping up with the latest ones gives you more tools you can use at your disposal during your FI journey. For example, Debt Freedom, FU Money, Coast FI, Flamingo FI, Geo FIRE, Expat FIRE, Barista FI, Lean FIRE, Chubby FIRE, Fat FIRE, the list just goes on. And there's loads more I haven't mentioned. Now this is great because we all have different circumstances, situations, different goals in life. Having all these tools to use when certain scenarios in life pop up helps us when we need to use them. And of course, the further along your FI journey, the more of the tools you'll be able to unlock. So the tip here is to find out about all the different types and see which ones can help you in your journey. You can even combine some of them, like doubling up on the draw 2 cards in Uno. For example, you might use the Geofire and Expat Fire principles to help you get to lean fire, or you could use a combination of debt freedom, FU money, and Coast FI to help you go on sabbaticals. Alright, so let's go to the 5th and last lesson, which is the power of life design. If you feel like you're stuck in a rut or you don't feel aligned with what your values are, life design helps you get off autopilot and leaning into things that are aligned with the things that you love. Essentially, it's about living a life by design and not just living that default path. Let's use the analogy of building a house. If you don't have drawings to give to your builder, they would have no idea what to build. Or if you just give them verbal instructions, they might get confused about this room or that room. However, if you have drawings that clearly show what you want, that would give them the direction and instruction to make your house a reality. Life design is like creating that design for your house. But instead, it's about your life. Like designing where to live, who's around you, what work you're doing, what hobbies you'll be doing, etc., etc. If you don't spend the effort to do that, you'll just feel like that lost builder who doesn't know what to do. Now, I would say that all of the guests that we've had on the show so far have all, in some way, shape or form, incorporated life design in their journeys, and that has helped them get to where they are today. So we delve a lot about life design in the previous episode 100, with Jess from the Pioneers, so feel free to listen back to that one if you missed it. Alright, so let's do a quick recap of the 5 lessons that I've learned. So the first one is that FI gives you a superpower. It helps you be more confident to take positive risks in life. The second one is the power of stepping back to align with yourself, and that's all about taking sabbaticals or mini retirements to give you space for transitions. The third lesson is the power of geo arbitrage, and that's the power of moving to a low cost of living area to help you with your FI journey. Okay, so the fourth lesson is knowing all the different FI strategies to help your journey, because the more you know, the more tools you have on your journey. The fifth lesson is the power of life design. Now, this helps you get off autopilot and to do things that you absolutely love doing. Alright, so those are my 5 learnings from 100 episodes, and I'm really happy that we got to this milestone, and I'll definitely be continuing putting out more episodes. Alright, that wraps up this episode. Don't forget to follow the show on your podcast player app if you want to hear more about enjoying your journey before you get to FI. You can also follow us on Instagram at Freedom Before Fi. Have an awesome week, and as always, practice gratitude, live life by your design, and do things that make you smile. You got this.